Hi, you guys. We're going to talk about polarity points in astrology and why they're not really talked about as much as they should be. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe. If you're interested in sessions or classes, you can find me on Patreon or on my website, susandyer.com. I was born clairvoyant. I had a near-death experience in 2017 in which I merged with the energy most people know as God, and now I mentor other women through their spiritual awakenings. So again, welcome. This video is going to be a little bit easier if you have a rudimentary knowledge of astrology, but I'm going to try to keep it simple just in case you don't, because I feel like it's a really under-talked about topic and it's so important and informative to understand this when you are talking about anything astrological. And that's this. No matter what's going on, whether you're analyzing your birth chart, which is the moment you were born, exactly how the planets were positioned, or you're examining a transitory chart, a chart of transits. You'll hear that word a lot. All that means is real time, what's happening in the sky. All of that boils down to the Zodiac Wheel, which has 12 houses, 1 through 12. And you can think of each house like a classroom, like an area of life. And for those of you beginners, I would highly encourage you to start there. Learn what those 12 classrooms are. Having your birth chart and an understanding of what each house means, that alone is life-changing. So again, the easiest place to get your hooks into this is to make sure you understand what these 12 different classrooms represent. Like the first house, that has to do with ego and identity. The 7th house is the house of partnerships, whether that's marriage or legal. The 8th house has to do with the taboo, sex, death, taxes, the occult. It's my favorite house. Anyway, you get the idea. Every area of life is covered in these 12 different houses. Now here's where it gets a little more complicated. There is a set template to the Zodiac Wheel. So even though you have your natal chart, I have mine right here. You can see it's all scribbled on. This is not what the set original Zodiac Wheel looks like, nor is it supposed to. But there is a natural order to the Zodiac Wheel to consider. And each house, 1 through 12, has a corresponding planet and sign. It comes as a package, if you want to think about it like that. But in terms of polarity, right there, we already have 3 sets of polarity points to consider. We have opposite houses, opposite signs, and opposite planets. Okay, now to get a little bit more in the weeds, we also have the 4 hemispheres. We've got the top hemisphere, which symbolizes objectivity. Then we've got the bottom hemisphere. Anything there symbolizes subjectivity. We've got the left hemisphere, which represents experiences that are internal. And then we've got the right hemisphere, which represents experiences that we experience through the lens of others. Now, we also have the elements. Most people know the elements according to sign. Most people know their sun sign. That's what you read when you read astrology descriptions in magazines and newspapers. It's your sun sign. And a lot of people know, oh, I'm a Leo, I'm a fire sign. But you've got to remember that a sign comes in a package with a house and a planet. So you know Leo's a fire sign. Leo traditionally rules the 5th house. So the 5th house is traditionally a fire house. And the 5th house rules the sun, which is traditionally a fire planet. Do you see how that works? So we've also got opposite elements. We've got fire, water, earth, and air. I think that's enough to begin with today. But what I want you to do, and the way I want you to use this information, is this. It's to call duality's bluff. We're down here role-playing as Susan, when I know the bulk of my being anchors in spirit and isn't even visible. We're down here, it's almost like we are in the Matrix. We are pretending to be separate, when in reality, all is one. So, with that being the truth, with all being one, when something's going on with you and you want to look at it through the lens of astrology, my first recommendation to you, because I think it's the easiest, would be to try to pinpoint which house the disturbance is happening in. So let's say, for example, you're a mom, and lately you just haven't been getting along with your kids, or you live with your parents and you haven't been getting along with them, or you and your partner are considering moving in together, but it's just not going smoothly and you're having doubts. Start with, well, which classroom best represents that scenario? And that would be the 4th house. The 4th house is the house of family, of the home front, of deep roots and origins. So we know there's a problem in the 4th house. But what I would challenge you to do, and this is a little bit of an alternative method of using this technique of astrology, which all astrology is another technique for self-inquiry. Okay, you've identified the 4th house is the troublesome house. So, along those lines of calling duality's bluff, I want you to go, straight across to its opposite, to house number 10. And take a look at that. There's no way that one of your houses is disturbed without there being some need to examine its opposite. You can't have one without the other. These are axes. Sorry, I'm not sure what the word is there. But these are pairs. So let's say you take a look at that 10th house, which represents legacy and your career and reputation. And let's say you notice, wow, wait a second, I've really been working a lot. And you realize there's no way that's not been adding tension to the dynamics of my family, whatever your chosen family is. And the more you educate yourself about all these different kind of polarity points that I've mentioned, the deeper you can go with this analysis, the better and more thorough your self-inquiry can be. Because there are no such things as opposites. So everything that is opposite is indeed flip side of the same coin and needs as much attention as whatever you directly think is the problem. So you can also do this with signs or planets. You see how this could work on so many different levels, whether it be a transit chart or your natal chart. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, leave them below. I know that's a lot to digest, especially for you guys who may not have much experience with astrology, but it really is an amazing tool to integrate opposites, because that is capital T truth. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week.